not
Good evening, everyone. It's 7 p.m. In the absence of Mayor Thuros, I'm John Cooley. I'm pleased to call the August 8, 2022 meeting of the Grosse Pointe Farm City Council to order. With everybody, please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Kozicki, roll call, please.
Councilmember Wood. Councilmember Conrad Overby.
Here.
Councilmember Ritchie.
Here.
Mayor Theros. Councilmember Diamond.
Here.
Councilmember Zorba.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Louis.
Here. I'd entertain a motion to excuse Councilmember Wood and Mayor Theros, please. Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion with appropriate second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Next, has everyone had a chance to read the minutes of the regular meeting and the meeting of closed session July 11, 2022?
One small adjustment.
Please.
I believe on page 2, talked about how Mayor Theros informed the audience about State Representative Joe Cates securing $1.2 million for the Wayne County Lakeshore Road seawall. I just would also like to add, he had also talked about State Representative Bertel also being involved in that.
Thank you. We will amend the meeting minutes to indicate that state representative. This is the next that as well. Thank you, Councilmember Soroka. Any other changes, additions, deletions? Not the meetings of those two meetings will be received. Thank you. Next, we've got a great intern this year at the City of Grosse Pointe Farms. Ms. Caroline Cartham is here this evening. We've heard that she's doing an absolutely fantastic job in her role as an intern here, and she is going to present to us a presentation regarding the city's social media channels. Ms. Cartham?
Hi, thank you. Okay. So, hi everybody. My name is Caroline Cartham. So, I am the communication design intern this summer at Grosse Pointe Farms. I'm a rising junior studying creative advertising with a minor in both graphic design and art history. And I've been working at the farm since May. My current design experience includes being on the advertising team for Vim Magazine, which is the only student-run, led fashion, media, and lifestyle magazine at Michigan State. And I also worked with a design group called Street Teams this past year, which is through the College of Communication, Arts, and Sciences. And it's basically where a group of students and a faculty member partner with nonprofits to help build their brand identity in the digital world, whether it's creating promotional videos, social media content, designing, and revamping the website. Along with working here this summer, I'm also at Our Media 2 days a week, and I'm a production intern there. And I help the production team there design advertising content using Adobe Creative Cloud, and whether it's openers for How to Detroit Magazine or Grand Rapids Magazine, they typically ask me to design those for them. So I've also had experience doing that this summer. I wanted to talk about the vision that we had at the beginning of the summer for how we wanted Grosse Pointe Farms to utilize their social media channels. So we wanted to expand our social media channels into TikTok this summer specifically to reach a more diverse group of audiences, with that being the younger demographic, using TikTok more than Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. We also have established a weekly schedule of posts this summer. So we've been posting every day since June 6th. Over on the right is the schedule. And we just wanted to do that to highlight the different departments and groups within the city, along with other events happening. So for example, on Thursdays, we always post Pier Park information because a lot of the events happen fall under weekends. So we wanted to get that information out before the weekend actually happened. And also on Sunday, we post reminders of meetings, city council meetings. And also we use a website called Canva, and that allows us to enhance the design quality of posts and keep it more uniform, and also by using multiple different medias. In one singular post, we allow for more eye-catching graphics to catch people while they're scrolling on social media. So to highlight all of our profiles, so when I started here, the farms already had a Facebook account, an Instagram account, a Twitter account, and then we started the TikTok in May. Facebook and Twitter were the main informational platforms that the farms was using at this time, so we decided to keep it that way. So not only do we post the regular weekly posts, we also do Nixle and other emergency alerts as well. Instagram we specifically use for the weekly scheduled posts because the idea of Instagram is just more aesthetically pleasing graphics and design, and then it also Instagram has a younger demographic than both Facebook and Twitter. And then with TikTok, that channel has both audio and visual elements, specifically only posting videos as the visual elements for it, and that social channel has a way younger demographic than the other two, specifically Facebook and Twitter. So for that platform, we post specific weekly posts, ones that would pertain to a younger demographic. So for example, we don't usually post finance or treasury information on that platform, but we do post public safety and Pier Park information. And then to highlight our growth and engagement this summer. So when I started on May 16th, we've had since then a 250 follower increase on Instagram. And then we've had a 42.5% increase on reaches on Facebook since June 6th, which is the day that we first started posting every day. And then reaches are just when somebody sees our post online, they don't necessarily have to be following us. It could be shared by another person. And then 53% increase in organic engagement on Facebook in the last 90 days. So we had 2,500 engagements on our posts between February and May, and now we're up to 3.9 engagements from May to currently. And then we have also made over 250 graphics on Canva, and those graphics can be reused for later use. They're all templates, and I've been saving all of them. So ones that aren't time sensitive or events that come annually, those can be reused later. And then on the left, I just highlighted one of the profiles that we did on Mark Jacob. That is one of the most liked posts on our Facebook that we had made using Canva. And that one received 147 reactions, 24 comments, and has reached over probably now 2,170 comments. That is all that I have for you guys today. And I will answer any questions if you guys have it as well.
Could you just give it a couple of examples? The TikTok, is there some? I'm really
Oh, yeah. You know, yeah. This one? Oh, hold on. We did dreams by the Big Mac. Audio for that one.
Question.
So this one is just one that we did on Friday, and this is highlighting some of the top waterborne questions that were found on the website. And then I also notified people where to go to find the rest of the questions, because there were 10, and then we chose to highlight 4.
Give us another comment,
Um,
because they're good, they're good.
yeah. This is one that I did on the Fire Prevention Bureau. We went for a more comic style.
Jenny Farquhar, we host. It was excellent.
I would say, I'm surprised that Mark Jacobs built out the Jim Marquardt post.
Yeah, I know.
That was one of the well performing ones.
Yes. And now, the one of the Little League has reached 63,000 people
Wow,
on that one,
wow,
so,
wow.
yeah.
They lost today.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, they did.
I just want to thank you, Helen, for your work this summer. It's been phenomenal to see the growth on our existing platforms. And I will say the first time I was scrolling on my For You page and came across a TikTok from the city, I was a little bit surprised, but was very pleasantly surprised. But I built out a channel that has a voice, but is also like reflective of the community. So you've done a phenomenal job. And Derek, thank you for your work with Rowan this summer. I am very hopeful that this will continue to be an internship that we have in the city. I think there's a lot of opportunity here. And I mean, frankly, you set a very high bar for the person that comes afterwards. So thank you for your work.
Thank you.
I just echo that. Caroline gave an excellent presentation to the communications committee, where we went through a lot of these different platforms, and the graphics are just terrific. Design graphics, there's a lot to that, and that creativity is all yours. So I agree with my fellow council person that yeah, it's going to be a high mark.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Does anyone in the public have any questions or comments around the subject? Start with thanks again to our communications committee, to Mr. Kozicki, Mr. Reside, of course. It's phenomenal. We look forward to more great things. Done really well. Thanks again.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Good evening. Next, I'll call to order a public hearing to consider the stormwater discharge, proposed stormwater discharge control ordinance. Mr. Reside, please.
Yes, I think there was some discussion regarding this proposed ordinance at our last council meeting, when council scheduled tonight's hearing date. After the memorandum from water superintendent Scott Hamiga, really explained the need for this. It's basically a requirement through the state of Michigan and through Eagle in order for us to continue our discharge permit. It gives this city some regulatory ability to regulate discharge or illicit discharge of contaminants into our stormwater system, and provides again protection for our Lake St. Clair. There's specific questions. I know Bill has reviewed it, and would be happy to answer that or anything else I should add. Bill.
I just have a really quick question just on so this is a new ordinance that was required, or is this a renewal of an existing ordinance, or?
Answer that one then. As a matter of formality, it's a new ordinance, but as a matter of practice, this is an area where there's federal, state, county, and municipal overlap in terms of the regulation. We've had for many years stormwater discharge permits, but the state regulatory authorities have updated what they require, so we're getting into conformity with the new state requirements.
Any other questions from council? Any comments from the public during this public hearing? Thank you very much. We'll consider the public hearing closed. And this will be placed on the next agenda.
No, it's up for approval.
Rescheduled it.
It's up for approval this
It's
evening.
up for approval this evening.
So a motion would be in order.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the proposed ordinance regarding stormwater discharge control? Councilman Ritchie, is there a second?
Second.
Councilperson Conrad Wilberding. Mr. Kozicki, roll call, please.
Councilmember Wood, Councilmember Conrad Wilberding,
Yes.
Councilmember Ritchie,
Yes.
Mayor Theros, Councilmember Donovan,
Yes.
Councilmember Zeroko,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Louis.
Yes. Thank you. Next on the agenda is a consideration of a request to approve a budget expenditure of $21,751.16 for the purchase and on-site installation of new audio recording and amplification system for this room, for the courtroom, and for city council meetings. Mr. Owen, can you speak to that, please, or Shane?
Yes, this is something that we've been evaluating and actually just have discussed with the communications committee. It was really driven by the court and our court administrator. More and more of our hearings are done via Zoom, and this is a way to enhance the ability to video conference and have that technology. But we also feel there's a lot of applications for this body and other bodies in the event that we begin exploring televising meetings. We're able to get a really good picture we found just with some of the existing cameras we have in place for our council meetings, but the audio, there are audio issues, and this will address those issues. I think our court administrator is available online. Is that
She is,
there's a question?
not in the waiting room.
Okay.
Right. She is the authority on this, but it would improve the audio quality tremendously. Currently, we're using older equipment in the cabinet behind you. This would install a modern rack and all the equipment, and then give rechargeable microphones for the 3 tables here, which would allow us to purchase more rechargeable wireless microphones, which would allow us to purchase some tables on wheels, so we can rearrange the courtroom and the council room a lot easier without having to lug around these very heavy tables.
Any council member comments?
I'd just like to reiterate what's in the package, because I can so appreciate this, especially when we look at our budget. We need to upgrade, not recreate, and only improvements that are necessary. And I appreciate that being stated in here.
I'll just add to that, Councilwoman Donovan. The communications committee, we talked extensively about this plan. We reviewed a lot of different alternatives. And one of the things that we came back to was this was already a need for the courts. And so how could we, especially if we wanted to work towards streaming of meetings at some point down the road, how could we make sure there wasn't additional expenses beyond what was necessary for the courts? So I think the plan that has been put together here is a good reflection of that kind of thought process and making sure that we're upgrading and not necessarily reinventing the wheel. While also making sure the court has what it needs and hopefully we can utilize those tools as well.
I would just add, Mayor Pro Tem, that the communications committee did, as Neil suggested, really go over this with a fine tooth comb. And we wanted to make sure that whatever we put in place, we didn't have a Mercedes-Benz model, but we had a pretty good size Chevy. And in doing that, we also took a look at what is it that we can have here that will keep us within the times as far as any technological changes that we want. And if we want to stream our meetings, if we want to televise our meetings, is this compatible? Can it really work with this? Will it have some high quality as well? But again, not major Hollywood broadcast, style, but something that really is adequate to our needs as far as true telecommunications and audio systems that are needed to be revised and revamped.
Any other council member questions or comments? Any public comment, please? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the budgeted expenditure of $21,751.16.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilperson Soroka, support by Councilperson Conrad Wilberding. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Wood, Councilmember Conrad Willoughby, Councilmember Ritchie.
Yes.
Mayor Theros, Councilmember Donovan.
Yes.
Councilmember Zorga.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bennett.
Yes. Next on our agenda is consideration of the consent agenda. Is there any council person who would like any item removed from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, please.
So moved.
Councilmember Ritchie, is there support? Councilperson Conrad Wilberding. Mr. Kozicki, roll call, please.
Councilmember Wood, Councilmember Conrad Willoughby,
Yes.
Councilmember Ritchie,
Yes.
Mayor Theros, Councilmember Donovan,
Yes.
Councilmember Zorga.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willoughby.
Yes. Next on our agenda is the receipt of the 2022 July Public Safety Report. Thank you very much, Director Hutchins and Deputy Director Rogers. We appreciate you and the work. All of us each and every day. Thank you.
Thank you.
This time we'll entertain public comment. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on any matter on the agenda or off the agenda? Please.
Are you saying public comment period right now?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. Does anybody else want to go first?
That's very.
Yeah,
Good job.
no. All right.
Name and address, please, if you would.
Name, Dr. Connie Boris, 28 McKinley Place, Grosse Pointe Farms, Michigan.
Thank you, Doctor. Good
Okay.
evening.
Eric, did you tell me when the 3 minutes? I'm just kidding. All right, my name is Dr. Connie Boris. I'm a Grosse Pointe Farm resident, live on McKinley. I served on the board and also as the president of the Society of American Military Engineers. I currently serve as the executive director of Wayne County Conservation District. Just so you all know, it is a local unit of government. It's not a 501c3, local unit of government, and was established by voters back in 1969. Now, my purpose is to give you a little bit of background. Most of you will remember this, but August 10th, 2020, this council passed a wonderful condition of the Grosse Pointe War Memorials addition, where they were required, and I will quote this is the motion the council passed on August 10th, 2020, that the final site plan will be approved subject to the following condition: that bird collision reduction glass will be used on all 4 sides of the new addition. Councilman Joe Rickey even suggested, as did the Conservation District, to use Guardian bird safe glass. They have 2 or 3 different varieties of glass that you can use. You say, why do we care about birds? Because during the migration periods, over 1 billion birds die every single year. Pretty soon, the species are going to go extinct, and our skies will be silent, and our children will never hear the sound of a resident bird or a migratory bird. So we, as humans, really have to take responsibility to protect birds. The council did that in 2020. Very grateful for that. However, since May of this year, the Wayne County Conservation District, which is responsible for protecting the natural resources in Wayne County, has gotten the runaround. both from the Grosse Pointe War Memorial and from the city.
Which city?
We- I can't hear real well.
Which city? You said the city. This city. Okay, our city.
Grosse Pointe Farms.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I started to read the construction entries that were put in on the War Memorial's website. And you read this. This is like in July of 2021, 11 months after you passed the council, after you passed that condition. And what it says is, there is a filament placed in the layers of glass that will allow birds to see it to prevent them from flying into the building. Great, hallelujah, feeling great about this. Same thing happens in September. But then, in February of this year, there's a little change. And it says there's a filament that will be placed on the surface of the glass. You don't place the filament on the surface of the glass. Then on April of 2022, not that long ago, there's a totally different change. There is a film that will be placed on the surface of the glass. Well, we're talking about bird deterrent glass. We're not talking about bird deterrent film. There's a difference here. On Friday, I went to look at that film on the west side that faces Lakeshore. Fantastic reflection of myself and all the trees in back of me and the sky, which is exactly what the birds are going to see, thinking, oh, there's a tree, I want to land on it, smack, and die. This is wrong. I then started to do a little bit more research, and found out that our suggestions of Guardian bird-safe glass, thrown out the window. The glass is not locally produced, it comes from Spain. When I looked on the website, it's called TVITEC, VITEC. Well, it is known for architectural glass. It is not known for bird safety. And when you look on the website, they give it like no discussion at all on their website about, there's one little tiny sentence, but what they're really pushing are other things like UV radiation, energy efficiency, solar heat, but not bird safety. Okay? In looking at all the construction entries, there's no protection for the birds. Since May of this year, I spoke with Charles Burke, who's with the Grosse Pointe War Memorial, asked him, he said they would do everything they were required to do. Then I started to go with the city engineers because I know you're supposed to look and make sure that what the council passed is in fact being complied with. Well, I didn't receive any response on June 7th, June 13th, no response. June 23, I'm getting tired of this, so I started to email, and make a long story short, I still don't have, the Wayne County Conservation District still does not have proof that bird collision reduction glass has been installed. I believe that what has been installed is not bird safe, but the Conservation District would like both visual proof and written proof that what the council passed back in August, almost 2 years ago, is in fact complied with. Let me, if I can just say
If you
one.
could wrap it up, please.
Okay, I will. There are major unresolved issues here, so give us proof. And secondly, what I think needs to be done, if we can't provide the proof, there's going to have to be a stop work order. In which case responsibility has to be assigned for the non-compliance. So this is serious. We want answers.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us, for your comments.
Time.
While we don't ordinarily engage in question and answer during public comment, I would ask Mr. Reedside if you have any information on the comment. Mr. Pop.
I don't think we have discussed it, Connie, but I know.
I've tried with the city engineer several times.
We'll look into it. I know there's, obviously, there's been no certificate of occupancy issued yet for that project. There are still ongoing construction. I know there's also delays just in the delivery of the glass because of glass that had been damaged. But we'll look into it. I will,
It's an international migratory bird pathway. It's precious.
well, we will follow up and find out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment, please?
In support of Dr. Boris, I'm Susan Bristol, and I live at 168 Ross.
Put the microphone down just a little bit so we can hear. Thank you.
I'm Susan Bristol, and I live at 168 Ross, in Rose Point Farms, and I am the board chair of the Wayne County Conservation District. The Conservation District knows that the council has passed the motion that Dr. Boris has referred to. And we also know that the council favors the protecting of the birds. As stated back in August 2020 and in the document that Dr. Forrest has presented, the War Memorial is on the direct path of international migratory bird pathway. The conservation is charged with the protection of the natural resources of the county. So this falls into that. Dr. Boris said that the CD wants written and visual confirmation of the motion that has been passed, and that the bird collision reduction glass has been installed on all 4 sides of the War Memorial to protect the counties and the city's precious resource.
Thank you, Ms. Bristol. Any other public comment, please? Any council member comment?
Mayor Pro Tem, I do remember when we made the stipulation, and I think that we really don't have concrete proof from what is being said here that it is not put in, and we don't have concrete proof that it has been put. So is it possible by the next council meeting that we can get some verification in this direction?
Yeah, definitely. We will follow up and we will find information with the council.
I agree. Pardon me. I think it was central to our discussion. We had a lot of people here who were very concerned about the migratory paths of the birds. I learned a lot. I was very concerned as well. I remember the motion specifically. I remember discussion of the Spanish glass company, but I also remember assurances that it would be high-tech glass to prevent the birds. Anyone can go out there anytime in the spring or late winter and see thousands of birds sitting in the lake or whatever, making their way, up throughout the Midwest through this path. So I think you raise a very important point. Dr. Boris and Ms. Bristol do as well. And we will have answers at the next council meeting. With that, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, I actually,
Please.
yeah, before we go, and I know Councilman Rishi is a big fan of our baseball team, I think we should celebrate the success of our young kids. It sounds like today was not the greatest, but it's very rare. I went to my wife's 25th reunion on Saturday, and it's pretty rare to see a kids baseball game being played at a reunion like that, but it just shows the kind of spirit in the community for our Little League program. And I know Councilmember Rishi is a big cheerleader of them. So thank you for your support, and it's been great to see the teams out there. And I just also wanted to say thank you to our parks team and everyone who showed up for the ice cream social this Saturday. I know our public safety members really enjoyed it as well. My daughter got a nice Duke's maybe penultimate performance for the group there. So thank you for that. And I actually did have a chance to walk through the War Memorial construction site today. I think we do have some outstanding questions about the glass. I talked a little bit to Charles about the general bird strike mitigation strategy that they have there. But I would certainly welcome increased collaboration with the Wayne County Conservation District and more dialogue between them. But overall, walking through that site, I am extremely excited about what it's going to be as a community center. It's gorgeous, and also it's just going to be even more so than it was before, I think a really reflective space where I think we'll be able to both honor the many men and women who died to protect this country. So I think we'll start seeing, it'll be open to the public increasingly. The plan is later this fall with a bigger opening the following spring. But I also look forward to seeing more information come about what the council required of that construction.
Mayor Pro Tem, I just want to piggyback more on that. Literally, the coach is Terry Brennan, who's a Grosse Pointe Farms resident. And his son is the pitcher and also and so everyone's been following this team, which is just unbelievable. You know, maybe at some point give the team and the coaches a little resolution.
Maybe we'll have him here at the next meeting.
Good.
Thank you. You could work on that, Mr. Kozicki. Have him here and have a nice resolution. Thank you, great idea. And one other thing I forgot, last week was a primary election. Mr. Kozicki, you and your team again did a fantastic job. There was a snarl very early on with one of the voting machines in the morning that he handled. They had to completely reconfigure something. There was also I'm not exactly sure of the right term, but there was a political party election watch person who came and showed up at our polls and was a little bit ornery at the beginning, so I'm told, but by the end of the day, Mr. Kozicki, in explaining everything to this person, that person has volunteered to assist the city of Grosse Pointe Farms in future elections. He wants to volunteer, so you did a very good job. You diffused a couple situations. Thank you to you and your team. Well done as always. Thank you.
The workers did an excellent job, and all of the voters were very cordial and polite that day. So kudos to everyone.
Very good, very good. Anything else? Great meeting. Thank you all. Move to adjourn. Councilperson Soroka, support by Councilperson Conrad Rosendain. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Well done. Thank you all.